if you were looking for a typewriter because you like the clickety-clack, but ended up with a personal computer instead because they told you that you gotta keep up with the times, it's not the 50s, you know? Well, don't be disappointed. Today we're gonna be taking a look at the budget mechanical keyboard from Havit. Now, I purchased this keyboard at the end of November 2020 for around $42 from Amazon, and it is sold as a part of the set with the mouse and keyboard, and at the time of the recording of this video, this retails for around $36. Both keyboard and mouse support RGB, they're both wired, and they both have their own separate piece of software, which is weird, and it's not the best kind of software, but it is what it is. So today we're going to be taking a look just at the keyboard, and we're going to leave the mouse for a separate video. Havit Mechanical Keyboard is a 104 keys blue switch keyboard, which means you can easily take it off if needed and replace the keys. For around $40, you get a good sounding keyboard with detachable wrist rest and a decent mouse. Now let's take a listen to this sound. Doesn't sound too bad now, does it? The keyboard is made of what it feels like plastic except for the top panel, which is aluminum. There are 3 screws at the top, which is an interesting design feature, but personally I like it and I feel like it gives it a certain vibe. In the space right above the arrow keys, there is a white Havit logo. And overall, I like the design of the keyboard. The keys are sitting at a good height and they're very comfortable to type, especially when you get used to it. Because if you're coming from like a flat membrane keyboard, you're definitely gonna need some time to get used to it. Overall, the build quality is pretty good. I saw some reviews where people were complaining about the sturdiness of the keyboard, like if you press in the middle, it would bend. But I have no problems when I type. I don't see any bending or anything like that. And unless you're the thing from the Fantastic Four and you have like thick and heavy fingers, then you might have problems typing, but other than that, it's pretty comfortable and it's not bending at all. The wrist rest is detachable and it's made of some kind of soft plastic, and for me personally, it's pretty comfortable, even though I'd probably still prefer something like soft leather or maybe memory gel, but for around $40, I really cannot complain. It's super easy to put on, but it's a lot harder to take it off, and unless you have thin fingers, you're probably gonna need some pliers or something to take it off. Now the length of the cable is about 5 feet. It's not too long, but decent enough if your tower sits next to your monitor. For more comfortable hand position, the keyboard is equipped with foldable feet. Now if you like rainbow colors, or you want to make a theme setup like Star Wars or something, and you need the keyboard to complete your setup with the colors, this is the perfect keyboard. There are 14 color modes that you can switch using function plus F9 key, and there is one more that is available through software, which is game mode. I don't understand why they just didn't add it to the hotkeys with function plus F9, but it is what it is. So overall you have 15 color modes. Plus, if you want to have a custom mode, you can do that by pressing function plus 1, and then once you press function plus 1, you can press function escape to actually set it up. So by pressing the keys twice, you can circle through the colors, and then once you're done, you press again function escape, and that sets your custom setup. With function plus page up or page down keys, you can actually switch between the brightness levels, and there are 5 brightness levels. For breathing or changing color modes, you can also adjust the breathing speed by pressing function plus or minus keys. There are also 5 levels for breathing speed. Now if you use solid mode or breathing mode, you can actually switch between the colors by pressing function plus up and down arrow keys. Now you can see there are so many ways to customize your keyboard, from colors to breathing speed to the lightness. For gamers, the keyboard has a very useful Windows key lock feature, which lets you lock the Windows key so you don't press it by accident while gaming and opening the start menu. The typical keyboard lets you press 6 keys at a time, but this keyboard is 100% anti-ghosting, which means you can press all 104 keys at the same time, just as you can see right here. By the way, I use 2 books to do that, so unless you're an alien or something, then you can press 104 keys at the same time while gaming. Isn't that cool? Who said there are no aliens among us, huh? Alright, now that we looked at the features of this keyboard, let me take you to my computer and I'm going to show you the software that it comes with. Alright, so we're in my computer and we're going to take a look at the software for this keyboard. This is the software that it comes with, and it's not very user-friendly or not very intuitive, I would say, and you're gonna understand why just in a minute as I'm gonna be going through it and explaining all the different features here. So as you can see, there are 3 profiles that you can pre-configure, and you can apply anytime you want. You can quickly switch between profiles by hitting this apply button. There is a macro editor. So if I wanted to create my own macro by pressing one button, it's going to make a bunch of clicks. You can do that here. This is the default that was here, as you can see. So you can go ahead and click start record button and just press the keys on the keyboard to record some macro. There is automatic recording time delay. You can check or uncheck that. Then you can select cycle until the key released, or you can say do this cycle so many times. Alright, and then there is insert event. So like if I want to add here, let's say a delay, I can click delay and I can enter delay time in milliseconds. Or if I want to add any keystroke like key down or key up and assign it to a certain key, I can do that here as well. And if I need to edit anything, I can do just right click and then modify or delete, and it will modify or delete the respective action here, like a delay or a certain key press. Now going down, I selected profile 1, and these are all the settings for profile 1. As you can see, there is this checkbox light, and this is the part that's not very intuitive. So this keyboard lets me assign certain action to a certain key. Let's say I want to assign copy. Instead of me doing Control C, I'm just going to assign to the C, click on it, and I'm going to do key assignment, and I can, let's say, select Control and then say C. So if I assign that and I click OK, you can see that now it has this border around this key, which means this key has an assignment. So if I again click on it, key assignment, I can assign any other key. But for now, I know that this key, when I press this key, it will perform the same action as would perform Control C. You can also assign macro to a key. Like for instance, if I select macro, you can see the macro list. So if I made a macro right here, a macro editor, later on it's going to be added to this list, and I can assign it to a certain key and click OK, and it's going to get assigned. Or I can assign a media control like play, pause, next, stop, email calculator, home page, and so on. So as you can see, you can basically assign any type of key or any action to any key. And in order to reset it, you can just do this, okay? And as you can see, the border is gone here. All right, and this is not very intuitive. Like, I wouldn't understand that I have to uncheck this to do this, because right now if I select light mode, I cannot select the key. So that's a little bit confusing right here on this part. As you can see, there are 15 color modes, and all of these, except for the game mode that I was talking about earlier, you can loop through them by pressing the function and F9 key. Or you can just do it here. So let's say I want to select color loop. As you can see, the keyboard already changing to color loop mode. If I want to select ripple shining, it's going to do ripple shining, and if I press the key, you can see the action happening on the keyboard and also the animation on the screen, which is kind of cool. Then I can adjust. As you can see, there are 5 adjustability levels, but they're also buggy because, as you can see, it does increments of 20%, but sometimes if I, like, let's say let it drop right here, it sets at 25%, which it wasn't shown. If I drop it right here, it sets at 50%, 75%, and so on. So yeah, it doesn't correspond to the keys over here on the keyboard, because you can do the same thing with function and page up or page down. You can increase or decrease the brightness, as I mentioned earlier. You can increase the speed. There are also 5 speed levels, which you can also do by pressing function and minus or plus key. As you can see, it goes faster. If I make it slower, now you can see that the ripple effect is going slower. You can select any color, like if I select let's say green, and I press, now it's doing green ripple effect. Or you can select random color, and then it's just gonna do rainbow color for the ripple effect. And all of this configuration totally depends on the type of effect. Like for fixed tone, you can select a color, or you can do random color. For some of them, you can do, like for rainbow wheel, you can do direction, which way you want it to go. So as you can see, I just switched the direction. It totally depends on all these modes that you have. This is the retro snake, sine wave, and so on. Yeah, in some points it's not very intuitive, but I would say it's still a decent piece of software where you can customize it to the way you like. And I think it's really good that for a $40 keyboard you can do that with this piece of software. And that's it. For around $40 you get a decent mechanical keyboard which is completely anti-ghosting, with a bunch of RGB modes and a bunch of useful features such as Windows key lock and macro setup. And there you have it. Thank you so much guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give it a like. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this keyboard and whether you would get it yourself. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks guys again, and I'll see you all in the next one.